till I can't no more.
I got the horses in the bag. Horse stock is a tag.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Podcast 86. Today's video, we'll be theorizing on what Peter Parker's relationship with the Avengers will be like in Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics' Marvel's Avengers universe. In the character's almost 60 years of history, there have been different versions of Spider-Man having different types of relationships and thoughts on the Avengers, such as Ultimate Universe's Peter Parker and the MCU's Peter Parker being fans of the Ultimates and the Avengers respectively, and to one day be part of the team, with MCU Peter even becoming a member of the Avengers, becoming a member in Infinity War and later joining the fight in Avengers Endgame to save the universe. 616 having a very complicated relationship with the team, at first being somewhat distrustful towards them and preferring to work alone, but later on became more trusting and even teamed up with them a few occasions. Other versions of Spider-Man like Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes Peter Parker, which was confirmed to be Spectacular Spider-Man, and the 90s animated series became pretty close with both versions of them working with their respective versions of the team, and even saving the world, or in the 90s case, the universe. As you can see, each version having different and similar types of relationships they have had with their respective teams, which begs the question, how will Crystal Dynamics' interpretation of the character be like with their version of the Avengers? I have discussed in one of my past videos that their version of Peter Parker could be a 19-year-old, making him a college student around the 5-year period where the Avengers disassembled. Therefore, assuming that this is the direction they'll be going with the friendly neighborhood hero and the Avengers assembled for the first time years ago, meaning that the team could have assembled way before the spider bite, possibly even before he was 15 years old. So before the events of A-Day, I'm going to speculate the Avengers as a team have been around for about 5 to 7 years before the events of A-Day. Therefore, I can imagine this version of Peter Parker being somewhat of a fan of the team, since around the time of A-Day, the Avengers are viewed as celebrities just like in the comics and the MCU. Unlike in the 616 universe, where the Avengers became a thing around the same time as Peter became Spider-Man, so he didn't really grow up looking up to the Avengers. However, this is where I think Crystal Dynamics' Spider-Man would be more like his 616 counterpart in terms of what he thinks of the team, and that's the events of A-Day, which the Avengers were pretty much labelled as threats and villains, causing the public to not trust them and the team had to disassemble. And if Peter's story takes place around the 5 years gap after A-Day, I think he will be more distrusting towards the team, thinking of them being somewhat fake heroes, and pretty much can't believe he looked up to them as a kid. However, it doesn't mean he trusts AIM either, as their mission is to get rid of any superpowered person, which includes him, so he may reluctantly team up with them or with a few members, but later realizes that they aren't threats and that they've actually been set up, like how the Daily Bugle always used to print lies about him being a menace to New York. I can believe this Peter Parker just realizing that the Avengers are not really that bad, and if they need anything from him in the future, they could always call him for help, not only creating an interesting story but also an arc for the character. Not to mention, his character would be so different in comparison to Kamala Khan, who always thought the Avengers were innocent. It is pretty much the reason the team comes back together to assemble. However, what about you guys? How do you think Peter Parker's relationship with the Avengers will be like when he shows up in 2021? Let me know in the comments down below. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and one more subscribe to begin Protocol 86.